There is a reason elders say the night has ears. There is a reason some villages do not sleep anymore. This story comes from a forgotten place, a small village hidden between forest and river, where the road ends and silence begins. The villagers called it Yumudik. By day, Yumudik was ordinary. Smoke rose gently from cooking fires. But at night the village listened, because every night without fail someone knocked. It began on a moonless night. Old Mama Nkiru was the first to hear it. She was lying on her mat when the sound came, slow, deliberate, too gentle to be a thief. She froze. The knock did not come from the door. It came from behind her. From the mud wall, a small tremor ran through the packed earth. Her voice was a dry whisper. "Who is there?" Silence stretched, thick and heavy, like a shroud. Then a voice thin, cracked. Wrong. It seemed to come from the very air around her. Open. "I am cold," Mama Nkiru screamed. It was a sound that tore through the quiet night, a sound of pure, undiluted terror. By morning, the villagers found her hut empty. There was no blood, no sign of a struggle, only handprints pressed into the wall from the inside. The elders gathered beneath the ancient Irako tree, their faces tight with worry, their voices low and hushed. When the walls began to knock, "Do not answer." Long ago, they said. Yumudik had angered the forest. So the rule was made, an iron law for survival. If you hear knocking at night, do not speak. The villagers obeyed. At first, the next night the knocking returned. But this time, it was everywhere. On the walls of every hut. On the fences that marked their yards. The mina opened. The whisper slithered into one hut. Chinadu. It promised in another. Little Sola. Your mother sent me. Children cried, their small sounds quickly muffled by terrified parents. Until Ifama did. Ifama was young, newly married, her heart still full of light. When the knocking came to her wall, it was gentle. It's almost loving. A soft tap, 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 Ifama. It's me. She knew that voice. It was her mother's. Her mother, who had been dead for 3 long years. Tears streamed down her face, hot and sudden. Her chest ached with a grief she thought she had buried. Mama. The elder's warning echoed in the back of her mind. The night rushed in, a cold, empty void. By sunrise, Ifama's hut was empty. But this time, there was something new. Fear, cold and sharp, finally took hold of Yumudik. No fires burned at night anymore. No drums played their familiar rhythms. Then Dam, the village hunter, a man built of muscle and courage, decided that fear had lived long enough. When the knocking came, it was loud, demanding. Dam did not flinch. The knocking stopped. A deep silence fell, and then the wall cracked. A fissure ran from the floor to the ceiling. Something pushed through, not flesh, not bone. A voice, deeper and older than the others, filled the hut. You answered. The scream that followed woke the forest.
At dawn.
The villagers found Dam alive, but he was not the same. The oldest elder, blind Baba Uch, who had seen more with his clouded eyes than any man with sight, finally spoke. This thing feeds on remembrance. It eats our grief. It survives on the names we call out in the dark. He told them the rest of the story, the part that had been forgotten. Long ago, the first settlers of Yumudik had found strangers wandering from the forest, sick and dying. Fearing disease, they had buried them without rites, without names, without a single tear of mourning. Forgotten dead, unmourned souls. They had knocked first from inside their shallow graves. Now, they wanted company. The only way to stop it was simple and unbelievably cruel. No one must respond, ever. Not to a whisper, not to a promise, not even to the voice of a loved one. They had to forget how to answer. 3 nights later, the knocking came again, but this time, it cried. A baby's desperate cry coming from the wall of Nika's hut. Nika held her own newborn, who was sleeping peacefully in her arms. A crying voice from the wall called her name, a heartbreaking wail. Mama, Mama. Her heart broke. It was the sound every mother is born to answer. She bit down hard on her hand to keep from speaking, from crying out. Blood filled her mouth, the coppery taste a shocking counterpoint to her grief. The crying grew louder, more insistent. Then it became angry. Then, many voices shouted at once, a chorus of the damned from within the very walls of her home. Open, open, open. The entire hut shook. Dust rained from the thatch roof. The walls seemed to bulge inward, straining against an immense pressure. Nika squeezed her eyes shut, holding her child tight, praying for it to end. Then, suddenly silence. A silence so complete it was more terrifying than the noise. The presence was gone. It had played its last, most terrible card, and it had failed. It never returned. The elders sealed the village's fate. No one built with mud again. Only wood. Only stone. Because sometimes on the quietest nights, when the wind is still, the walls still remember. Thanks for watching. If this story sent a shiver down your spine, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark.